Okay, welcome to another episode of Panicle, Podcast for Geeks. Joining me again is my friend Carrie, who seems to be the only one who wants to talk about Star Wars with me. So, this episode is going to be about Bo-Katan and the latest episode of The Mandalorian. We'll probably talk about her as one of the characters that's introduced in the Clone Wars as well, because I'm trying to remember if she was in the books. I'm pretty sure she was not. I'm pretty sure she was introduced specifically in the Clone Wars during when they show the war that's happening on Mandalore. She was part of the what's his name Previs and all those guys, and then once he died and Maul took over is when she basically went into hiding, right?
Okay.
And if you watch, have you seen Rebels? I don't remember if you've seen Rebels yet.
I've seen a little bit of Rebels, but I wanted to hold off because I saw that it was directly connected to Clone Wars, so I want to get through Clone Wars first and then start Rebels.
Got it. Well, spoilers. I'm trying not to spoil. I mean, so basically in Rebels,
okay.
She ends up with a.
It's my fault for being so far behind.
Well, it's my fault too. I'm still catching up on a lot of stuff, but there is a there is an episode. Basically, she's the one who's got the dark saber in Rebels at the end. But
Yeah.
as you
Okay.
say something real quick, Carrie.
Something real quick, Carrie. Am I
All right, that's
lagging
perfect.
or?
No. I just wanted to make sure your mic settings were going.
Oh, okay.
We don't want another instance of that famous episode where I recorded for 8 minutes with no audio. But so she had so this was in the Mandalorian. The show is suggesting somehow along the way she has lost the dark saber, right? Because Moff Gideon has it now, and that's what she's trying to get back. So I'm curious to see where they take it, because for fans of this character, I thought that episode was done really. I thought so. The first two episodes were cool, but I felt like they were kind of like easing us back into the Mandalorian, and I thought that third episode was amazing. Mainly because you get to see
Yeah.
a Mandalorian strike team essentially, and do you know? I
Yeah.
thought it was neat the way they break down the ship and then they take it over and all that. Just once, I hate the running joke of like stormtroopers not being able to hit a target and stuff. I get it, like they suck at what they do in that degree, but it's also like they're supposed to be trained soldiers, man. You're trying to tell me they can't at least once hit a target here and there, So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I thought it was done really well. It's cool to see Death Watch, and then I think they're called Bo-Katan's team's called the Night Owls. Um,
Oh, okay. That's the ones that we saw show up on
yeah,
the tanker. They're called the
yeah,
Night Owls.
they're called
Okay.
the Night Owls, I believe. So that's kind of neat to see. I'm gonna confirm that right now before I get called out by somebody.
It won't be me.
Well,
I just believe whatever you say.
oh really? That's good to know. But like you see them, you see like I can't remember the name of the female character, but I think I was reading something about the male character on there because if I'm right, their team on the show, her Night Owls are made up of all females. Um, and then
Okay.
on the show they had a dude, a male, running around with them too. So um, I'm not sure if there's a specific reason for that or what angle they're going with there. I'm not sure if there's a specific reason, but there it is. So I might have gotten double audio for a second there. Sorry. But I also really like Carrie Sackhoff, the actress who played Bo-Katan. I think she also voiced her, by the way, in the Clone Wars, which I thought was
Oh, really? That's
yeah.
interesting.
So she's a fan favorite, man. You lean into things that people like, and people are gonna keep watching, right? So
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I never watched Battlestar, the new Battlestar Galactica, but she was
Starbuck,
Starbuck. There you go. That's it.
yeah. Battlestar is. I used to watch that show as a kid. We can do a whole thing on that with somebody else because you clearly suck.
I watched the old one
I watched the older one too, man. I grew up on
with the
this.
real Starbuck and Boomer and all that.
Easy, fella. Um,
I just
but No, I mean like she's everyone loves her and everything she does. So like
Yeah.
the fact that they cast the voice actress in the role, which fine, it's cool because she's an actress,
Yeah.
and they, I love that they hint. I actually watched last night's episode, hoping for Ahsoka, because they
Me
hint at
too.
her, but I was like, you can't just give us the character after you basically talk about it, right? It would have been
Yeah. Yeah.
uh
It'll be the season closer. We'll get her in episode 8.
oh my god, don't say that.
You know that they want you to drool the whole time, waiting to see her, and then
I
not
mean,
pay
I
it off.
feel like she has to come into play because in my head, I foresee a battle between her and Moff Gideon. Like the dual, it's gonna be the dual lightsabers versus the dark saber. He's got the dark saber, and in theory, technically, whoever wields the dark saber also is the person in charge of the Mandalorians. So the other rumor online is he's hiding or stationed on Mandalore because having the dark saber means he's in charge. He's in charge over
Okay.
there.
Okay.
Their laws or religion, I don't know which is the right word there. I'm gonna say their religion basically states that whoever wields that saber is you have to. He's their king, essentially.
Mm,
And
mm.
Bo-Katan was in charge. I don't know what happened there, so I'm hoping they kind of give us a backstory on that. That would be kind of, that has potential.
I mean, I would assume just because Dave Filoni, we're going to get all that stuff. He's going to give us everything we want.
I mean, he created Ahsoka Tano, right?
Yeah.
That's his
Mm-hmm.
character. Um, I don't know if he created Bo-Katan, but he was in charge. He did a lot of the Clone Wars. That's his baby. So
Yeah.
I'd imagine, and if you ever hear that man talk, like he has a plan of execution for everything. He's not just
Yeah.
he's not like George Lucas. He's not out there just winging it. Like I'll fucking say it, like
Oh, J.J. Abrams.
uh, that guy. I used to have this a little bit of like respect is not the right word. But I used to always be like, JJ's not so bad. He's an idea man. He comes up with
Yeah. Yeah.
ideas and he puts them
Yeah.
out there. But the problem is he's an idea man who never sees his ideas through to fruition, right? He never goes
Mm-hmm.
any show he's done, Lost. I guess Alias wasn't too bad. But Lost is a prime example of starting a great show, leaving it in the hands of other people who did not create the show, and then just saying, they got it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Star
And that's
Wars.
exactly how he treated the sequels.
If he had just done all 3 Star Wars movies the way he was supposed to, instead of being like, hire a different director for episode 8 and hire
Mm-hmm.
another director for episode 9. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, you want me to come back? But I don't know what the hell's happening,
Yeah.
Because I'm not really a Star Wars nerd. I'm just a wannabe. I'm a tourist who's getting paid a lot of
Yeah.
money to make these movies. And someone's going to say something about JJ, and that's fine. If you like JJ, it's cool. I don't hate on the dude, but I definitely,
Yeah.
if I hate anything about him, I hate his laziness to complete a fucking project properly.
Yeah. I try to come at it from a different angle. Like I try to up the idea of the idea man. And I get it.
Sure.
Do something awesome, put it in other people's hands, and let your baby go. But this in a fandom like Star Wars, man,
Yeah.
we have a very contentious fandom, and that you can't that's a bullshit move
Yeah,
in Star Wars fandom. So
Star Wars is one
but
of the fandoms you can't fuck with. Like,
yeah,
and at this moment, because they've messed with it so much, and also, I don't know how you're gonna tie in. Well, so the new stuff, I don't know how you're gonna tie in. I don't know where this Mandalorian series is gonna go. Right? It's essentially its own side story, but now you're introducing characters that are from the main movies. Like, well, no, Ahsoka wasn't in the movies, but she's important to the Anakin storyline,
mm-hmm.
right? So it's kind of like you're introducing this character that was important to the Anakin Vader storyline,
Mm-hmm.
because Vader is also shows up in Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're gonna try to spin it into the new episodes. What is it? 7, 8, and 9. I have no clue how they're gonna do it. I don't even know if there's a way to salvage it after what we saw in the last Star Wars. But there is another
I
rumor. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say I really put a lot of faith in Dave Filoni. If anybody, if
Yes.
there is anyone on Earth, go
Oh,
ahead with your rumor because that gets into my next point.
my rumor was they were gonna reboot the last three. They were gonna retcon them and say that's three movies in the Star Wars universe,
Yeah,
not important to the existing six movies. Because even though episodes 1, 2, and 3 weren't the greatest movies in the world, they still tied in fairly well to episodes 4, 5, and 6.
they do, and that's one thing. Because I'm one of those prequel haters, but I have to give it that it does it gives the original movies a lot of structure that
Yeah.
we didn't usually get.
And
So it's
I felt like episode 7 was kind of taking us in the right direction. I won't say it was the best.
mm-hmm.
I didn't hate episode 7. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it's filmed exactly like A New Hope. It's got like a trench
Yeah,
run at the end and all that." I'm like,
yeah,
"Yeah,
yeah,
I get it, guys. I get it. I'm with you."
yeah.
But that's also I feel like you kind of have to lean in on the fandom a little bit there, right? So they gave you a taste of what you missed, right? Uh,
Right.
and obviously a lot of fans loved it and a lot of fans hate. That's just any fandom, right? They're gonna
Yeah.
um but but then and then then there was the Rain Johnson one, episode 8, which again I didn't 100% hate on it. I liked where he was trying to go. He's trying to be like, here's a like, this movie's primarily going to focus on um the women who are super
Mm-hmm.
strong and super intelligent, and it was a good idea, and people hated on
Mm-hmm.
that, and mainly a bunch of dudes who couldn't handle women being in charge.
Well, that's a part of the fandom I just entirely discount. They can go
Right.
whatever. That
Like,
don't play in my
dude,
sandbox.
did you
But
know like people were like trying to start a fund to make money and refilm that whole movie? And Rain
yeah,
Johnson was like, I'll kick in for that." Like, I was like, this is a brilliant response, right? Because he's actually
yeah,
not a he's actually a cool dude. He's actually a cool director in my opinion. He
yeah,
It's just his idea for that movie was too radical for Star Wars fans. Just want spaceship battles, Jedi lightsaber fights, a couple of robots tossed in here and there, and just okay writing. They don't want like this in depth, like, not all Star Wars fans. I shouldn't say Star Wars fans. Like, a lot of them just want, like myself, I just want to see a Star Wars movie. So I was happy to see
yeah,
that movie. I was fine with it, right?
yeah,
Was I happy to see Luke Skywalker die at the end? No, but I understood that it was basically like a passing of the torch. Like, he's gone,
yeah,
Rey's taking over, and then you couldn't, and I feel like what's going to happen with my point is, I'm trying to bring us back to this Bo-Katan and Ahsoka story, because my point
yeah,
is what's going to happen is you're going to have a bunch of these fucking dudes who are going to be really upset when they find out that it's going to be like it's no longer going to be a Mandalorian storyline. It's slowly going to arc over to Bo-Katan, and it's going to arc over to Ahsoka Tano, who's an amazing fucking Jedi. Um,
yeah.
and somewhere along the lines here, people are about to get really butthurt that the story is arcing over to Ahsoka. She's important to the storyline, man.
Right.
And I want to see them introduce Vader somehow. Oh no, he's dead. So I want to see them introduce her storyline in aspects of, because when you leave Clone Wars with her, you see like how much she has to go through to try to save Anakin, and then he turns. And then when you leave Rebels, you see like there's there was one or two encounters where they fight, and she tries, to save him still, because she's like, Luke, I see the good in you,
Yeah,
like, obviously
yeah,
you need Luke had to come. Luke is obviously a super strong Jedi, and he comes along and does what he's supposed to do and saves him. But I'm curious, man, because I feel like there's probably like you can leave hints of a line of Jedi coming out that's not just Rey trying to figure herself out on her own. Is my point, right?
Right.
It's like it felt like the last movie was saying she's the last line, she's like the last Jedi, but I don't believe that because if you watch the movie before that, you see the little kid who's got Force abilities, right? At the end of the movie, it's just a
Yeah.
little taste, he's not doing anything fancy. He just makes a broom fly towards his hand.
Yeah.
But
That was a great moment.
right, and I was just like, that totally suggests that there's a lot of these force users out there, right? So it's just um you can go back to like Luke flying, like starting his own Jedi Academy. I mean, that'd be
Hmm.
fun. I really hope they don't retcon those movies because what a clusterfuck that's gonna be.
Yeah, I had heard that it was they were going to sort of make this the three movies we just got. They were going to make it kind of like an alternate dimension, multiverse kind of thing. And then, I mean, I guess that's okay. And if it ends up giving me three more Star Wars movies, and if they're better, I'm not going to complain. But I'm with you. I kind of hope that they just leave it
Just
alone. Let Dave Filoni do some magic trick to tie everything together, which I believe he's fully capable of doing.
and
Um,
I say this on like every time we talk about Star Wars stuff. I feel like they need to also let him do it in show format, not movie format. Um, I think the movie format is killing this franchise because you're trying to say a lot with very
yeah,
little time, um,
yeah,
and people
yeah. I
can't
like this
handle it.
long form storytelling.
People can take 45 minutes at a time. They can't seem to take 2.5 hours without finding everything. Like, I mean, there's things I there are things in the Mandalorian that I'm just like, okay, like the episode 2 where the spiders, what are they called, Krikas, where he fucking falls through an ice planet and has like no, like one of his wings is basically missing, right? But he's like, hey, we're gonna fly out of here. It's like, bro, your wings buried in ice. You want to fix that? And then and you and I are talking about this where he comes out with like just a toolbox in his hand, like, I'll fix this. And you're just like, hey, you're gonna need a lot more than that. But then he like just,
Yeah,
but then you get that classic Star Wars thing where he's just like, I'm gonna seal this door and we're gonna fly through space. We just have to stay in the cockpit.
with the damn trunk open.
Yeah, yeah. The back hangers like flying out, and I'm just like, okay. And again, that's Star Wars, right? You can accept that. I mean, you can
Yeah,
accept that they're flying through hyperspace and walking around like it's nothing and playing games of, um, I forget what the chess game is called, but
yeah,
and then the episode right after that where you meet Bo-Katan, he gets to that planet and they like do a shit job repairing his ship,
yeah.
and he still just takes off in it, right? He's like, we'll just roll the dice and see how far we can get with this. And
There's something I like about that, and this may come from, like, I live in rural Georgia. I see vehicles that should not be on the road, man. Axles held on by bungee cords and stuff like that. So I see that and I'm like, that could happen. you know.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, in the vacuum of space, man.
Yeah, but there's also noises in space in Star Wars, so we gotta.
Right, right, right. And you can't like. I guess my point is you can't be picking apart the finer details of those things, right? Like,
Yeah,
like I'm the kind of person sitting there like when he fires off his I forget what those little tiny rockets were called, like
yeah. Like whistling birds or something.
yeah, whistling canaries or whistling birds or whatever they are.
Yeah, something
But
like
every
that.
time he fires those off, I'm sitting there thinking, how many of those does he have left?
Yeah, right. Me
Like
too. Me too.
like anytime he uses his flamethrower, I'm like, yo man, you're getting a little extreme with that. You're gonna juice out. And then what?
You're gonna need to fly off somewhere. You're not gonna have any juice left.
Yeah, your jetpack probably uses the same fuel. Like
Yeah,
and you're willy nilly
I,
just jumping off the ships.
yeah, and the direction of the propulsion when he's flying like this, what's keeping him aloft? Nothing, just our imagination.
Space, man, space magic.
He's only being propelled forward, not upward. But
Yeah, that episode
whatever.
yesterday where he runs and like takes off straight off. I'm like, damn, he's going fast. And I was like, even the Rocketeer went straight up first, dude. You got to like arc over, like that's how a rocket works, right? You go up and then you start a slow arc.
Right.
But I don't care if they did that because I thought it was cool when he
Yeah.
takes off.
Yeah.
I like the fact that he's using that jetpack more, but
Yeah.
to get us back to the we keep going off. Keep going off on tangents, which is fine. That's what the show's about. You can just
Yeah.
we don't have to stay focused on the main topic here. But I was gonna say is there's a cool also an thing about with Bo-Katan and Ahsoka. There's also the Darth Maul angle that they can bring into play because technically, well, no, let me think here. He is dead too, I believe, because all the stuff happening in the Mandalorian is happening after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
And Darth Maul was killed finally by Obi-Wan, spoilers, by Obi-Wan Kenobi for the second time. Yeah, exactly. That's the face of anyone who's like, "What? I haven't watched Rebels yet." You've had plenty of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, never mind. In my head, I was thinking they could put a Maul angle in there, but he's dead because he got killed the second time by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then because Kenobi is obviously dead in the New Hope,
But then I'm gonna throw a wrench in there in the new Lego holiday special. They can jump all over time. Have you seen that yet?
No,
Dude, really?
no, I have not. I haven't seen any Lego. The only thing I've seen from Lego is the first Lego movie. So there's a Lego.
They just released the Lego Star Wars holiday special.
Okay, great. Is it as bad as the Star Wars holiday special from like 1983?
No. And there's only a couple of nods to that in it. Basically, you see Itchy and Lumpy. That's all. That's the only tie-in to the original.
That's his wife and kid.
No, his wife. What's his wife's name? Like
who's Itchy and Lumpy? His kids?
Yeah, Lumpy is his kid. Itchy, I think, is his father-in-law or something like that. He was the one who was
I don't remember.
Perving out on the dancing woman. Is all right.
Yeah, that's one of those movies. My friend, I had a friend who found an old download of it because the rumor was Lucas hated that movie so much he made sure all copies of it don't exist.
Dude, it used to be hard to get a hold of. It's not hard now, but
I mean, because he did his best to get rid of it before the internet became a thing, right?
Yeah.
Like VHSs were burned and like DVDs didn't even exist.
I still got my old VHS.
Yeah, I've got a copy of it sitting in storage on VHS because one of my cousins thought it was funny to give it to me. And I was like, this is a collector's item, basically, right? You can't get rid of it. I mean, I even got the Ewok movie, too.
Yeah.
There's two of them, right?
Yeah, there's two of them. There's, I can't remember the name of them. But yeah, there's two of them.
I'm also curious if they're going to introduce Ewoks in The Mandalorian. I almost feel like they're gonna because that's an easy path. Because the other thing Star Wars is really good at is merchandising.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna want the Ewoks in there somewhere so you can introduce some Ewok plushies and Ewok Funko.
Yeah, man. He's gonna end up on Endor at some point, man. Did
you know that so I didn't think they'd recycle planets. I thought they'd keep putting them on different planets over and over, which they have done a pretty good job of. But obviously in the last episode he ended up back on the planet with the smugglers and all that. I can't remember what it's called. So it starts with
Navarro.
And then on the episode 2 episodes before episode 2, the ice planet he crashes on is the same planet he's on in the first episode. Remember the very, very first Mandalorian episode?
Oh, right. With Horatio Sands as the blue guy, yeah.
Yes, so that is the same planet. In the one that he crashes on. So that episode I thought was cool too I'm digging that they're putting in more of like the dogfights with the ships.
Mm-hmm.
It was fun to see the X-Wings chasing him down because he's got some cool skills. Like when he like air brakes and just drops, I'm just like, it's like Top Gun shit right there, right? I'm just gonna brake, it's gonna go past me. You're gonna what? And it didn't work as well for him in that second episode. Well, it did to a degree, but it worked really well for him in the last episode where he's fighting the TIE fighters. And he's got a little bit of that Mandalorian edge because he goes straight at that last TIE fighter. doesn't buck at all. You know, like he's like, we're gonna crash. We're gonna
That
crash in each other.
yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
he goes pretty hard, and that's how when he's in a corridor and there's a bunch of bad guys running at him, he's the one to step out in the middle and just start,
well,
you
he's like,
know,
I got this best car armor, bro.
exactly.
But it's like,
Yeah, I
I
love
wish
that
just
Beskar
once he
armor.
would think. He's got to think a little bit like, man, you got armor on, but you're like Batman. A straight shot's gonna hurt. Um,
Mhm.
and if anyone comes at you with a blade, there's a good chance they're gonna get through one of those openings. You know, like.
Yeah,
But I get it. But I also really enjoyed, and it's not even like the biggest like details, but I loved the scene with Baby Yoda sitting in the classroom, and he's like asking the kid for a macaroon, basically. Yeah, he's like,
yeah,
He's like, you didn't give me one? No? Fine, bitch, I'll just take it, right? Which
yeah,
I love that because he's just like,
yeah,
and he just looks at him while he's eating it, like, "What's up?" You know, like, and
yeah,
because the kid's just looking at him like, "How did this get from there to there?"
yeah. As great a scene as that was, I gotta stick in and say it made no sense for
It
them just
just,
to
it's just a
walk in
filler.
his classroom, plop a baby down, and take off. You know?
Well, when they were like, I, I think it was done just to create that little tension of when they're in the base and they figure out that this is not a weapons building; it's a lab, and they
Yeah,
find out that Gideon is still alive. He's like the baby, and you're like,
yeah,
fuck, he's just sitting in a classroom minding his own business.
yeah, yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
you expect a bunch of like shock troopers to just drop down and take him, but
Yeah,
because that's why he took off so fast, right, with his jetpack. And
yeah.
I admit, I was sitting there thinking, oh shit, they're gonna get the baby again, you know.
I thought so too. I was very relieved when
So
he got there first.
I think that's kind of the angle they were trying to go with on in that aspect. But
Yeah,
yeah, I was kind of like, where he's like, where I go, he goes. But I'm like, on one hand, I was like, that's cool. But on the other hand, I'm like, you don't want to really take him into a fortress full of stormtroopers.
that you're right. Yeah,
Put him in a safer place. And the classroom seemed. It's kind of nice to see the baby interacting with other kids. I guess is probably the angle, because
hmm
you have to also keep in mind that baby's probably been alive a lot longer than most of these characters.
hmm
And his environment was always been hidden. He's been on the move and constantly hidden, so he doesn't have interactions with people. Um,
right.
there is a whole thing. Um, People were really mad after the second episode because the baby kept eating all the eggs. I was just like, I read this brilliant thing on somebody posted. I think it was on Twitter about how the denizens, is that the right word?
Yeah,
The denizens of Dagobah were
yeah, that's
probably
right.
celebrating and having a party when Yoda died because he was probably
He
the
kept
alpha
eating the
predator.
kids.
He eats everything, right? So he was the alpha predator running around like eating everything on that planet.
That's why I went to take away in the first place. It's a buffet.
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna go to Dagobah and just hide out. But he's like, and I'm gonna eat like a king, so like, yeah, so like people were like saying stuff like that's it's a joke, obviously, but it could be true. But that's why this baby has this baby just eats everything, right? And so, but the thing that
Yeah,
people were mad at a level of like they were like that's like knowing that lady, those eggs were the last of her
yeah,
race. People were mad saying that baby was basically performing genocide on those babies, and
yeah.
I get
But
it.
but sometimes you gotta step away. You gotta step back from what's going on in the story and try to understand what's being accomplished in the story,
Right.
because we see when they finally get there, when they deliver those babies and the dad's there and we see one hatching, you see revelation in the baby's eyes.
Yes.
He was they were just his food, but when he saw them hatch, it was like this a new level of understanding.
Yep.
So to just be angry that he's eating him, you got to understand he's a baby. He doesn't know anything, but he learned something, and that's what we're trying to accomplish in a story. And folks, please remember, it's not a real race of people. These aren't real eggs; they're just rubber balls. You know.
Yeah, I mean, people were just. I get it. People had to understand that you have to separate the reality from, um, the
Yeah,
actual
from
sci-fi.
the fiction, and
Because I didn't think about it
it's an
that way at
element
all.
of storytelling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I didn't think about it that way until I was reading the articles, and then I was just like, okay, I can see that. That's not cool. I'm not gonna ramp up about it because it's a
right.
show, but I can see that. But people were like, cancel Baby Yoda, and um, I think they said something like there was another running joke basically saying him being eaten by the I forgot what that sea creature's called now. See,
Mm.
we're like 80% Star Wars fans, but not 100% apparently because we don't know all the names. But
Right.
him being eaten by that creature, and then saved by the night
Hmm.
owls was like
Hmm.
his eye opening experience. Like it's not cool to eat everything, you know.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I didn't put that together.
I didn't either. Like
Um,
I had again, I read these. I have friends who read article after article about video games that we play and stuff, and they
mm,
keep giving me a hard time that I don't keep up with the forums and know them all. But I'm like, you guys don't get it, man. That's what you guys read. I sit here reading about Star Wars and comic books all day. So like,
right.
I only know those thoughts about the Baby Yoda character because people have been writing articles about it, and they all seem to kind
Hmm.
of, I don't know who started the article, but they all seem to resonate. Like, so when somebody said
Hmm.
something like, "Yo, that's genocide," it just created a track for that talk. And then when somebody said he learned his lesson because he got eaten by the sea monster, that created another track of people saying,
Yeah.
"Yeah,"
Yeah. And
which,
and here's one more little layer of it. He's been hanging out with the Mandalorian for however many episodes now. He has seen violence and death, and just life is kind of disposable.
yep,
So that may be another thing. If he thinks of life as a disposable thing, he's in there popping these little eggs in his mouth. But then he gets to have that revelation moment at the end. It's we're looking at character growth. If the characters always do the right thing all the time, we don't watch because it's boring.
right.
You know.
And he's also just a hungry baby.
Yeah.
Like, babies are hungry. Anyone who has a baby in actual life, an
Mm-hmm.
actual baby is pretty hungry all the time.
Everything, everything goes in the mouth.
Everything goes in their mouth. They eat everything. They chew on
Yeah.
everything. So he's
And
kind
that's how
of.
babies explore.
I mean, this kid's like, I love the fact that he stole that kid's snack because it just. I feel like they're slowly setting us up for things like he's going to steal other things.
Mm-hmm.
He's just gonna see something he wants and take it, right? Which is not a good thing to teach a baby. But for Baby Yoda,
But
it's pretty cute.
it's setting us up for another lesson.
It's setting us up for something that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm trying to think if there was something else I saw that caught my eye in last night's episode. Again, I really was hoping for Ahsoka Tano, but I get it. I like the fact that they did a segue because now his ship is actually. Well, I was sitting there thinking, man, they work fast. They got that ship fixed up,
Yeah.
lickety
For
split,
real.
and I was like, also as a Mandalorian, I would hope that a ship was rigged out to see a tracking device on it, but obviously he's not. So he's basically leading Gideon straight to Ahsoka at this point.
I mean, if it was rigged out to detect the tracking device, it was disabled by that pink thing, whatever that was. The creature.
Oh yeah, that dude. I thought he was a calamari, but he didn't look like a
Mm-mm. I mean,
calamari. No, he had a
yeah.
little more of a goldfish face. That's how I'm gonna describe him.
So I wonder if I'm trying to remember because, like I said, I'm just now getting into. I'm about to start season 3 of Clone Wars. Right at the end
Oh,
of season 2, there is this moment where it's when the Rodian senator gets killed, and it's like a whodunit mystery, and it turns out it was the other Rodian that did it. There is a doctor in there, if I'm trying to remember correctly. There's a doctor that is being manipulated by the bad guy who has that same kind of like goldfish kind of face. I don't know if it's one of those or not.
oh, I haven't seen that episode in so long. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
um, season 3 was a long time ago for me.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not even in season 3 yet. I'm just about to start it.
Oh, okay.
So this is the end of season 2. But that reminds me of another point that kind of popped into my head earlier about why I think Filoni is going to tie in the prequels, the originals, and the sequels.
Yeah, tell me. I want to hear this.
Do what now?
Tell me. I want to hear this.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm watching Clone Wars, and here comes oh damn, I can't think of his name now. Uh, Anaka. What's his first name? Uh, damn it, I can't think of his name now. Anyway, this character shows up, and I recognize him from places Disney World. He's the guy you see when you get on Smuggler's Run. There's this animatronic, the guy Hondo Anaka.
Oh, Hondo,
there's
yeah.
This guy, he's like you're here and this is my hangar. You're gonna get on the Millennium Falcon. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, yeah.
So as soon as he walks out in season 2 of the Clone Wars, I was like, oh, that's Hondo. I know him from Disney World. Well, in the Star Wars land in Batuu, we have Hondo Anaka, and we know Disney does not. They don't have just incongruous storylines. It's all one storyline. So you got him on the Smuggler's Run, but then in Rise of the Resistance, it's all sequel stuff. It's all First Order. It's all Kylo Ren and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking, because we know that the Clone Wars is tied pretty tightly into the Mandalorian.
Yep.
I'm thinking that tie also draws in the sequels. Now, sure, it can be retconned and all that kind of stuff, but that's just one of those things that I think Dave Filoni's going to draw that line in and start making other connections.
I mean, they were saying that they're going to bring Hondo and what's the name of that bounty hunter? Bane.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cad Bane. Cad Bane. Because but I
can't. The one with the
yeah, with the wide brim hat,
yeah.
and
yeah,
he's kind of like a cowboy, I guess. But I was trying to remember if I know Hondo is fine, but I can't remember if Bane still. I assume he still lives. I can't remember. Because I was also talking to my cousin about Ventress, because Ventress was one of the characters that helped Ahsoka out at one time, and I can't remember, because again, it's been a while since I've seen the older series. I can't remember if Ventress is still alive or dead, but to the best of my recollection, she lives in the underground city under Coruscant still.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet, so I don't know.
Well, when you get there.
And right now, Bane is still Cad Bane is still alive in where I am right now. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure he's still alive. I don't remember anything happening to him.
Yeah, the last thing I saw of him, he was disguised as a clone trooper, and he got away. I'm pretty sure in that one.
Yeah, and I think that's the last thing well, no, that's older. He comes back later at some point, but
okay, good. I like him.
Yeah, he's a cool character. He's got a cool voice too, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm just really trying to figure out. I trust Filoni to do a good job with this. I just kind of wish I knew where they're gonna go with it. Because like Gideon is a character that's, I believe, not in the series anywhere. He's created specifically for Mandalorian. And obviously, at some point, he took the no.
I don't quote me. I'm trying to think that never mind, because I can't think specifically where I heard his name. I thought they said his name in Clone Wars, but I may be getting my wires crossed. So go ahead.
No, I mean, I'm trying to see if I can find something on it, but it's been too long. But I mean, like, I feel like there's an angle there. I feel like where the story is really going to go is going to be Ahsoka needs to get, Bo-Katan clearly needs to get the Darksaber back so she can go save Mandalore and take, restore peace there. Right. Ahsoka at some point, I'm guessing, will help her again and or not, because it's, it seemed like she gave up on the Jedi Order, but then if you watch Rebels, she's kind of not giving up, Yeah, again, spoilers. I'm trying to remember what that famous line was that she says. I don't remember, but um, that's my I guess my really curious side is going to be, are they going to at the end of this season, like just hand over the baby to Ahsoka and be like, go ahead, can you raise this baby for me, please? Like, or are they going to say, or he's going to be like, no, man, I got this. I'll take care of the baby still. Because I feel like the baby arc keeps people interested, but also that's his story right now, right? Get the baby to his own people, and in this case, his own people are Jedis.
So when this quest is over, where do we go? Is Mando's story over, or at least this Mando story over, and they go on to a different series, or?
Yeah.
And they go off and have new adventures,
The only thing I could think about that they can do after this is if they could put him in an angle of learning more about his own people. Because there's this, the scene where she takes off her helmet, and he's like, "You're not a Mandalorian because you took your helmet off," and she's like, "There's, she's like, I'm born on Mandalore, bitch."
Yeah.
I'm more Mandalorian than you are.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
Right.
You adopted ass mofo. Like.
But did you notice that when he came up out of the pit where the monster was in the water, he looked up at her and she offered him his hand and says, "Take my hand," just like the Mandalorian did when he was a kid, hiding from the battle droids. It was the exact same shot. Yeah, dude.
Is it the Death? What are they called? Death Squad? Death
Watch.
Death Watch. Are they the one? They're the ones that saved him, right? Is that what we were saying?
No, I believe that he is a product of Death Watch, because what she says, what Bo-Katan says, she introduces herself. The armor's been in my family for 3 generations, and I'm a Mandalorian. Blah 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 blah. You must be a member of the Watch. So I'm assuming that's Death Watch, which in Clone Wars, Death Watch was secretly plotting on that Mandalorian moon. I can't remember the name of the moon, but they were up there kind of amassing an army for their cult. And so they're the ones that had that strict credo of, never taking the helmet off.
Yeah, so that's the one that Piz Vizsla? I think it's Piz Vizsla.
Are you having a stroke right now?
No, I'm trying to figure out the name of the guy who had the Paz Vizsla. That's the heavy infantry guy. What's the name of the dude that had the dark saber that was in charge of Bo-Katan's?
I can't remember his name.
He's basically the one that. Hang on, it's Pre-Vizsla, I think. Pre-Vizsla. That sounds right. It'd be nice.
Oh, that does sound familiar.
Yeah, Pre-Vizsla was the guy that was on the moon.
Okay.
On that moon, in that station, that had the dark saber, that eventually loses to Darth Maul, gets his ass beat by Darth Maul, basically.
I can't wait to see that.
Oh, shit. Spoilers.
Dude, it's so old. I can't.
You've had like 7 years to catch up on that. But that's how Maul takes over, and that's when Bo-Katan basically, she's the one who's like, "You're not a real Mandalorian. You can't be in charge of us," to Maul, and she flees with her own faction of people, and then they come back in and take over again, right?
Okay.
But I'm really curious to see how she lost the dark saber. Like, how you just gonna go lose it's like literally like losing the crown on your head to your enemy, and then, but also that just gives you an idea of like how like infatuated, I guess, their religion is, because instead of saying like, so if Gideon is in charge, instead of saying this dude is not, I mean, we don't know yet, but maybe he is a Mandalorian too, but instead of saying, let's use Darth Maul as an example because it's easier, instead of saying you're not a Mandalorian, you're not from Mandalore, you can't be in charge of us, doesn't matter if you're holding a dark saber.
Right.
Have fun with it, man. You're not in charge. They're like, you're in charge because you're holding this super secret weapon.
Right.
But I'm trying to think if there's anything else we should talk about before we wrap up, because we're about 45 minutes in.
Okay.
Somebody about to interrupt your show.
Do what now?
You keep looking off. I was like, somebody about to interrupt the show.
No, I'm looking up at my other screen.
Oh, okay. Because there's so I was reading up on Bo-Katan real quick to remember that part. There's a part here that says, another thing about last week's episode was we're not seeing a genocidal baby Yoda. We're seeing a typical toddler, which you and I just said. We're seeing a typical toddler who will put anything in his mouth, fuss and complain when he's separated from his new favorite toy or pet, and genuinely wreak havoc just being a kid. This show has a lot of great qualities, but it's an incredibly realistic take on parenting. Is one of the best things about it. I can't get enough, not just on the Baby Yoda cuteness, but the way the two of them interact. So the way they interact, the patient father with a little toddler, I thought it was great when he's flying the ship and he's just sitting behind him like, yay! I'm like, you're not on a roller coaster, kid, And I remember that feeling when I was a kid, and my dad used to drive his car like he was a rally car racer. Okay, he had an old 440. He drove that thing fast. It's a muscle car. He drove it the way it's supposed to be driven. But I used to remember when I was a kid, there were times I would not. My dad wouldn't sometimes just not be big on wearing my seatbelt. It doesn't make I'm basically calling him out here. But I would like lean on him and be like, "What's going on over here?" And I remember one day some dude cut us off and he broke so hard. I've actually got a mark on my head here because I hit the brake pedal. And I had to be taken to the emergency room. Yeah, it was. I flew straight down, right? Luckily, I didn't fly forward into the windshield. I flew straight down.
Yeah.
And my mom was super pissed, obviously, because my dad was like, "Oh, he fell and he hit his head on the brake pedal." And it's like, how do you explain that? Like here, I don't know if you can see it. It's right here. It's this mark right here on my head.
Oh wow.
Right there. It's a little scar. Basically, every day after that, I wore my seatbelt, obviously, because as a kid, I was traumatized. I flew forward pretty fast.
Wow.
But I also feel like when I was watching them dogfight, it made me think about myself as a kid, where I'd be in the back with my, whenever I wasn't in the front seat, I'd be in the back seat like, yo, everything's going by so fast. This is fun as fuck. Yeah. And that's just being a kid. And it was kind of cool. And then you did the classic thing a kid does after a roller coaster ride. He's like, bleh. And, and I thought it was kind of cool how the Mandalorian just wipes it up with his own fucking cloak, which is things you've done with your kid. Like, I've put my hand out for my kid when she's about to throw something out of her mouth, and I'm like, ugh. And my wife's always like, ew, you're just going to catch that in your hand? I'm like, yeah. Because it's either that or it hits this person's carpet.
I'd rather catch it in my hand than have to clean it out of the carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd rather just let it sit in my hand and wash my hands later, Welcome to being a parent.
Being a parent. For real.
I used to do that stuff with my nieces all the time. Like, I would just see that, you see that look on their face when you're just like, and they're just like, bleh. You're like, thanks for that.
It comes without much warning.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to comment on this last episode is when they hijack that tank and they go rocketing off of that platform way up there, and they just blam. Why are they still walking? That should have destroyed their spines.
Star Wars.
Exactly. Star Wars.
It's like, how that guy always says, that guy who's always like, aliens. We're like, Star Wars. Also, I thought it was awesome how the speeder bikers went off the top until the moment the two knuckleheads hit each other and they blew up. I was just like, I was like, there was this moment where I'm like, speeder bike racers are fucking amazing. And that lasted for about 5 seconds until that one dude hit a rock, hit his friend, because we all know you had that friend where you're riding your bikes and he crashes into you and then it's just chaos. And they blow up. And I'm just like, oh, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah, but it's so, what he was doing was he was giving us the indoor chase again. The same shots, dude, focusing in on the foot, hitting the pedal and stuff like that. That was awesome, man.
The little hand signals.
Again. Yeah.
They got the shittiest pistols. I'm like, can you guys get better guns? Like, seriously, is there a reason you have like the lightest pea shooters in your hand? Like, They don't do shit. And then the guy being a speeder bike racer, he should have seen that, like, when she like rams him into the wall. I'm like, yo, brake. Just brake or go
Yeah.
forward. You're on a
Yeah.
your vehicle's much faster than hers. I get it though. But and also when I thought about it later, I was like, the two dudes crashing gives us a little taste of this is not it doesn't have to be perfection. It's like that kind of shit could actually happen at that level of chase, right? Like it's a high speed chase. And all five of those dudes are like, I'm gonna be the guy to catch this shit. And they fucking dove off the top of a cliff, for Christ's sake, like there's got to be a better way to get down, like
right.
like.
But remember that we are in this is the Empire is in tatters. It's
right.
People think it's completely gone, so there's probably not a whole lot of instruction going on. People aren't they're not being they're able to kind of bend the rules because nobody's really watching them, and they're getting sloppy. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, that is a good way to look at it. They're getting sloppy. Is a good way to look at it.
Full force, but yeah.
I mean, that's actually a good way to look at it. They're getting sloppy, and so they make mistakes. Whereas Gideon, his team seems like they're somewhat organized to a degree.
Yeah.
He's obviously creating, what are those? The Dark Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like a room full of Dark Troopers from the old Star Wars games, basically, right? Those dudes are going to be elite as fuck, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about them until about an hour ago. My wife just yelled down the stairs, "Those were Dark Troopers!" And she kind of told me a little bit about them. I was like, "Oh shit, that's awesome!" Because I was like, when I saw them, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not big into the EU. I don't play the games and read all the books and stuff. But when it was zooming out there, I was like, "What are they cloning Darth Vader?"
Yeah, well, they come from. They're not cloning. They come from the Dark.
I don't know.
They come from a series called, I believe it was called Dark Empire. It's an old, it's like a couple issue arc that they did, and then they showed up in one of the video games. I can't remember which one now, but they're supposed to be like an elite group of troopers. I'm trying to see if I can find specific information on them.
Do they have anything to do with the Knights of Ren or anything like that?
No, they have nothing to do with the Knights of Ren.
Oh, okay.
They're basically, let's see.
Second sit, probably not that either. Yeah, I don't know. But whatever it was, being a
here, so it says
Star Wars fan.
It says basically, although two different types of Dark Troopers were introduced in '95. Although the Force-sensitive ones in Dark Empire debuted first by a month, deployed by the Dark Empire, which was led by an Emperor's clone. So they might have a clone. 6 years after Return of the Jedi. So that might be how they're tying the stories from the movies.
Mm-hmm.
These elite stormtroopers were trained in the dark side of the Force and used their powers to unleash terror on an unsuspecting galaxy. They participated in Operation Shadowhand, a military campaign that Palpatine hoped would give him back control of the galaxy in the early days of the New Republic. So it could be hints of the early days of the First Order. Because the First Order is basically set up by the Emperor, right? Here we go.
Right.
Yeah, Dark Troopers only appeared in 3 issues of the Dark Empire storyline, wielding the but they also did inspire the Shadow Troopers. Oh, that's what I was thinking of. The lightsaber wielding dark side stormtroopers, which came in Jedi Knight game, the Jedi Knight 2 game. So I was thinking of Shadow Troopers. So I don't know if they're Dark Troopers or Shadow Troopers, but both, if it's one or the other, they're both pretty elite. And in theory, they shouldn't miss their targets when they fire. And it seems like he was training. It looked like there were about 20 of them in that room. So we might get some cool shit coming our way soon. Hopefully they're not just
and it also kind of explains why they're so hot and heavy to find the baby, because they obviously know that this baby is very powerful with the Force. But it might set up some nice story things if they're only like halfway done and they have to use them or something. That might be fun.
I mean, my guess is they'll show up in the they won't show up in the next episode. My guess is the next episode will have Ahsoka. What episode are we on? That'll be 5. Next one will be 5.
Next episode will be 5. Yeah.
So then we have 4. We basically have 4 episodes left. So it's usually 8, right?
Yeah, 8 episodes. So you're saying episode 5. I'm saying she shows up at episode 8.
Yeah, you really think she's not gonna show up till the very, very end?
That's what I think. I think they're going to tease her because they know we want to see her.
Well,
I think they're going to tease her the whole series long. I hope you're right.
Well, I'm thinking 5 or 7. I'm thinking that she's going to get at least 2 episodes. Is what I'm saying. There's also a character.
I would like that very much. Yeah.
There was also another character they showed in the trailer. I can't remember her name now. I think she's a Jedi. People kept thinking it was Ahsoka, but it wasn't.
Oh yeah. It was a young Twi'lek, right? That we saw.
It's not even a Twi'lek. It's let me see.
Ahsoka's not a Twi'lek, is she?
Yeah.
She is. I thought Twi'leks all had. No, they do all have 3, don't they?
She has 2.
Okay.
Ahsoka's a Twi'lek, but I'm trying to remember who that character was. And then we'll call the show done in a second here. I'm trying to see. That wasn't Ahsoka. So this character here, this person said it. That's not Ahsoka. So it says reactions. That's not Yo. That is I've seen. It's not Ahsoka because she doesn't have the what do you call them? Her tentacles. They're not tentacles. What are they called?
God,
Tails?
I don't know.
They're called like head tails or something. I forget.
That's it. I'm sure they're called head tails.
Horns. Horns?
Well, she had. Did you say horns with an H?
Horns with an H.
Horns, because she does have like horns, but is that what those are? That like because her head goes up like
they're called montrals, montrals, or curved horns.
Oh, okay.
She's a specific type of Twi'lek.
I see.
Which is very interesting.
That's cool.
But the character that they showed in the trailer was not her. According to half the people who saw it said it was Ahsoka, but then a larger percentage of people said, no, this is wrong. This is not her. Mainly also the person playing her is Rosario Dawson, and that looked nothing like Rosario Dawson.
Right.
She's supposed to be an older. She's supposed to be an older Ahsoka. You're talking. Right. She's supposed to be a from the Rebels storyline, not the Clone Wars storyline.
Right.
Though, it'd be brilliant if they did a series with Ahsoka.
Yeah, it would.
So, all right. Well, we're at 58 minutes.
All right.
Again, thank you for joining me today because I had another guest cancel, and I'm just like, we're gonna just talk about Mandalorian because it's fun. I think there's a lot we could talk about with Star Wars and stuff too, but I think we gotta try to get a third person on here because I feel like you and I are very similar in most of our opinions, and we got to get that person on here that's gonna be like,
yeah,
you guys got it all wrong.
Yeah, we need somebody to argue with, somebody that hates the sequels.
I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there that really hates. I mean, the thing is, I can get people that don't like the sequels. I just don't want to get somebody on here that hates the. Like, I remember, I won't name names, but I got into it with someone who was arguing about The Last Jedi because this individual, it was a dude who didn't like the female angle of things, and I was like, you're upset because the strong lead is a female and no longer Luke Skywalker. Which
there's no value in that argument.
Which I'm just like, which makes you sound like a big idiot, basically.
Yeah, it really does.
So, but I didn't engage.
Like I want somebody that can like, fight it out a little bit. That doesn't have a stupid ass argument like that.
Right.
But then, and then I want to be able to complain about how Finn was absolutely wasted. That's my biggest gripe about this.
Oh my God! I mean,
Finn's character.
That's a whole different. Yeah, when I first saw Finn, I thought, awesome. Here's a black character who appears to be force sensitive,
Yeah.
you know, and they just wasted the storyline, like because J.J. Abrams. So before we end, I'm gonna say because I don't think J.J. Abrams is a racist, but he definitely has a problem putting people of color in a lead role.
Mm.
Because to the best of my knowledge, all his movies have strong white male characters, except Alias, where he had a strong white female character.
Mm.
But
Mm.
all his other shows, I'm just like, his movies are the same. You know, like, come on, man. Finn was a perfect character and you wasted him. Ray was a perfect character
Yeah.
and you wasted her. Um, Poe is a great character and you wasted him.
Mm.
Like, you
Mm.
could have set him up for his own Han Solo style story arc, you know.
Absolutely.
But every one of those
And
people hated working with him at the end of the day. Um,
hey,
and
work with the actor.
the actors did not like J.J. Abrams, from what I've heard at the end of
Oh,
this thing. It's just,
oh,
you
that's
know,
too
they just.
bad.
I mean,
I've heard the same. I've heard the same about Favreau.
I feel like when you're a director, people are gonna like you. It's just plain and simple. You could be the nicest dude, but as a director, you're gonna be a hard ass because you want perfection from everything. Favreau, you know, he makes amazing movies, but he probably is a hard ass to work with. I'm sure David Filoni is the same way. I'm sure, you know. You
Yeah,
fro.
yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
pretty sure there's nobody out there who's gonna be like, so and so is an amazing director and a great friend. I love working with them on everything. Unless you're like fucking what's his name? Pineapple Express. um,
Oh yeah, Seth Rogen.
what's that? Seth. What's his name?
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen. Yeah, because like
Yeah.
Seth Rogen and James Franco are probably fucking high half the time. They're ad libbing their way
Oh,
through a movie. I'm
half
sure.
the time?
I'm
No.
sorry, 75% of the time, and that probably was
they
fucking
they
amazing.
open their trailer door in the morning and the smoke billowed out.
Yeah, and that was probably fun as fuck to make, right? Because of that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Mel Brooks, I've heard is great to work for, but you can't really compare Mel Brooks to like Jon Favreau. I think it's two very different types of directors.
yeah, that's what
Very
I
different
mean.
types.
Like you have this serious level of, you know, like Favreau's movies are like he helped bring the Star Wars universe back in with the Mandalorian. And I feel like he'd be a great director for the movies if they want to do movies. He did an
Mm-hmm.
amazing job bringing Iron Man to life, so then we got more Marvel
Mm-hmm.
movies that were great after that.
Yeah.
Filoni's, so yeah, but Abrams, but the thing that people didn't like about Abrams was there's two scripts for the last movie, and apparently the other script is much better because there's an arc where Rey becomes a Jedi with dual lightsabers, and Kylo goes full Sith, which would have been amazing.
Hmm.
Like he was already
I
spiraling
want
towards
to. I
it.
want to see Ray. I want to see Ray go dark. That was. I was looking forward to that, and it just didn't happen.
No, that didn't happen. And you could have done like a Luke Skywalker storyline where she went to the dark side and came back to the light side. Um, but the script called
Right.
for all these amazing things. If you could just Google it and look it up, there's parts of the script that leaked that sounded much better than the crap we got. I don't know why, and it just feels like, and that's why I feel like, there's rumors that when I think Kathleen Kennedy's done and she's leaving, and the rumor is Jon Favreau's going to take over. And if that's true, that's fine with me because I feel like him and Filoni love this stuff so much they will
Yeah.
give it proper justice. Because there's an Obi-Wan Kenobi series coming out.
Mm-hmm.
There's rumors again they're going to work on a Ahsoka Tano series. I'm fine with all
Awesome.
of this as long as the right people are in charge. Kathleen Kennedy super fucking sucks at her job. Doesn't know the storyline at all. She's
Mm-hmm.
she's your typical corporate. How do I make
She's
money?
a suit.
Suit,
Yeah.
exactly. She's a suit, and she's very
Yeah.
much like, I'm just gonna make money. She puts on a smile.
Yeah.
She seems like a nice person. She's not. And I'm glad to see her go. Fuck her. I'll say it. um, so on that note, feel free to not talk to me about how much you love Kathleen Kennedy because she ruined the Star Wars movies. Thanks for joining me again. Hopefully, I think next
Absolutely.
week we're going to have you on again, if you're available, and Steven Najarian, and we're going to talk about Lord of the Rings. And if for those of us who know Steven Najarian, when we talk about Lord of the Rings, it's going to be like you're talking to Gandalf, because He's
I'm looking forward to that, man. I really am.
leveled up Gandalf. I've died and come back Gandalf, not
That's Gandalf the White. Hell
Gandalf the
yeah, dude.
White, not the I'm hanging out in the Shire smoking some pipe weed. I'm talking that
Yeah,
level. Steven's on a level where I'm just like, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about anymore.
yeah,
But
yeah. I'm Radagast then in that.
amazing. I'm more
Yeah,
like
that's
Aragon. I don't want any responsibility whatsoever. I just I just
yeah, but
want
I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to that conversation because I'm almost always the person who knows the most about Lord of the Rings, and so I will be glad to sit at the feet of a true master.
cool. All right, well let me
So,
kill this and then we'll talk for a minute. Thanks for joining us again, guys. Feel free to share and follow. See you guys next week.